All right, so we're gonna get into the kind of some fundamentals, like beginning parts of the Kimura trap system, okay? So there's lots of different elements to the Kimura trap system. There's things you can do from the top. We've already done a while back, we did some stuff from the top where you just do like the Americana straight arm and Kimura and all that, and use the figure 4 lock to get to a couple other places from there. But this works when you're passing half guard. There's ways to use the Kimura trap. When you're standing and someone's shooting in like a single leg or something, you can Kimura trap and take people down and finish from there. And then bottom half guard is pretty strong. There's tons of different positions we can use it from. But this is a really fun starting point that I use quite a bit when I'm training. So especially nogi, this is great nogi stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is knee shield and stuff like that. You can certainly finish the Kimura from here, and we're going to do that first. But you have to have a knee shield or a butterfly hook or something. You have to have some kind of distance management between your hips and their hips in order to finish it. I'm not saying you can't finish it without it, but it's risky and it's difficult, okay? So the first things first, when I get my grip, you put your hand on the mat. All right. This is kind of a small thing, but it's gonna end up paying off down the road if you can remember it. So when I'm getting my grips, it's really important that I don't commit my own grip to my wrist unless I have a knee shield, okay? Unless I think I can finish this Kimura, I don't want to grab my own wrist. So what I mean is this, I don't want to take my knee shield out so I can reach, come through here, and then grab my own wrist, right? Unless I'm 100% sure I can get this behind her back, okay? Because once you commit your wrist inside, now she has the ability to scoop it and fully trap your wrist, and now, like I'm already ready to tap, my shoulders are so inflexible. You guys want to know how to beat them, that's how to do it, tap my shoulders. So, but if I commit fully, that's like she's gonna be able to trap me up, right? So if I don't have a knee shield, what I usually do is come through and I just thread my hand behind the elbow like this. I don't grab my own wrist until I get to a position like this where I know she's not gonna tuck her hand inside of her leg or anything like that. Now I can commit to my grip and then start working my finish, okay? Right. So it's one thing to just be wary of, because if you wanna avoid the trap, the counter, it's important not to do that. But if I don't have my knee shield and I get my grips, go ahead, right? And I start opening up like that and I get her to this point, if she tries to do the counter now, my wrist can easily just slip right out. And that's why I want you guys to understand that. You can actually beat the counter immediately just by not committing to the grip, okay? But let's say I go, right, and I don't have a knee shield, and I take this and I start going and she tucks it inside her leg, okay? Now I can commit my grip to my other hand, right? I just have to make sure my arms are punching away and I'm keeping her arm straight. Now if she tries to do that counter, it's hard because she can't bend her arm because her leg is, I'm pushing it down. I'm like pushing it away from me that way. If I have my elbows really bent, now she can scoop it up, right? So I don't want my arms very bent at this beginning part. I want to punch it straight. That way it's harder for her to get that counter going, okay? But for me to finish this Kimura, I need a knee shield. So what I'm gonna do is shrimp away a little bit, bring my knee shield through, and I don't want a shallow knee shield. I want to try to get my knee shield all the way to this far hip. So I'm going to slide it all the way through to this hip like that. So my foot is still hooking on the far side, but my knee is exposed on this side, right? And that's really important for the finish because now, no matter how hard she tucks this wrist inside of her leg and grabs on or anything like that, my hips and my knees, my back, everything can work together to pop this grip out and release it, right? But now the only issue is I can't rotate because my hips are pointing this way. I can't rotate my shoulders without my hips, right? So it's an easy fix. All we have to do is take our knee and kind of drive it up into the armpit, right? So I just pull my knee up towards my face and that allows me to kind of rotate to my back a little bit and I can work to finish from here, okay? My other foot is still trapping in half guard because I want to try to keep her in this position as long as I can and I can just work through for the tap, okay? So now if I have a knee shield and I start, then I can go ahead and connect my grip. So if I have my knee shield and I get here, now I can connect, because even if she tucks that in or tries to counter, my leg is in the way, so she can't get that, right? But I do want this exposed on this side so I can make all that space, right? And then I'm not trying to open my leg to turn her, because that takes really tiny muscles to do that. Bring your knee up into the armpit, okay? And I can finish from here, all right? Now what happens a lot of times when you're finishing this submission, because I'm rotating this way, right? I'm putting a lot of pressure on her shoulder. She knows that she's gonna have to tap at some point. So most of the time, people don't wanna tap. So she's gonna roll over the shoulder, to alleviate the pressure. So I just use my leg across the belly just like a lasso sweep or something like that, and just kind of kick and extend her away. But I keep my Kimura trap in place, okay? It's very important I keep my grips, and I actually want to try to connect her arm to her body here and kind of make everything one unit. Now my elbows can get nice and bent, so I can work my way up to my knees, right? And then from this position, I work to open her shoulder. So I'm pushing her wrist into her body. I can close her elbow and open her shoulder, and that gets me back to this position where I can pop up, finish my Kimura from here, spin around for my arm bar, and all that stuff. Lots of other submissions from that position that we will do in the next couple weeks. Way too much to fit in there tonight. So again, if I have my knee shield, I'm fully connecting all my grips, right? My knee is exposed here. In case she blocks, I can extend away and open it up. My knee comes up into the armpit, right? I go for my finish, she taps. If she doesn't tap and tries to roll, I just release the leg, kick her off with my left leg, connect everything to her body, work my way up. I can finish off to the side a little bit, right? I can pinch here. When you guys are in this position finishing, I want you guys to squeeze your knees together on the upper body and pinch and try to keep the back off the mat, all right? I don't want to be loose here. The looser I am, she can put her back on the mat, but also when it's loose, if my leg's up like this or something like that, one, she can escape very easily, but two, there's a lot of range of motion, right? Tons of range of motion. It takes me a lot of work, and Michelle's not flexible, but it takes me a lot of work to get there, right? Everything's loose and floppy. I want to pinch my knees together tight, squeeze her upper body so her shoulder's completely isolated. Then I pinch my own elbows into my body, pinch her elbow into my body, and now it's just a very short range of motion to get the tap. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It's very efficient. One more time. So remember, if I don't have my knee shield, I'm probably not going to get that second grip. I punch the arm in between the legs. Now I can get my second grip, work my knee shield across, pop the arm out, open up into the armpit. If she rolls, I can release the foot, work her away, connect everything, work her come up, get her on her side. All right, and there's tons of stuff to do from here. Let's just work on the Kimura for now. Or if I want, I can drop my forearm real heavy into ribs, use that to step my left leg up, spin, and attack the arm bar instead. Yep.
When you're pinching in, are you ever putting both knees on the ground?
So yeah, that's a great question that came up a lot in the last couple of classes. That really depends on your height and their height, their width, I guess you could say. If you're taller than your opponent, that's really good strategy to actually pin this arm on the ground. You can have both knees on the ground. I find I get a better pinch if one of them's up. All right, better squeeze. Because like down here, I feel like it's hard for me to, it's so far away, it's hard for me to squeeze, right? But it's still good, it's totally solid. I usually have one knee up, so I can pitch a little higher, closer to the shoulder, whether it's this knee or this knee. Doesn't matter. For me, it feels better to have feet closer to the shoulder than like all this space in here. Okay, or if it's somebody really big, both knees up is fine too. But that's typically unless you're a lot shorter than your opponent. Okay, cool, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's add in another variation, shall we? So same start, everything's the same. I'm gonna assume that I lost my knee shield again for whatever reason, right? I get in here, she's defending, I connect my grips, and I'm punching away, right? So sometimes if they're being really heavy on you, sometimes you're just not gonna be able to get your knee shield across, right? Sometimes they won't let you. Like I know me personally, like I'm not gonna let someone get a knee shield back if I already got rid of it or if they lost it. Like when I'm passing the guard, it's like, she's got hip control, like there's no reason for her to let me have that back, right? So sometimes you just can't wedge that thing in there, right? So the second best thing you can get is a butterfly hook. So if I can move my hips out just a little bit away, instead of trying to like push in with my knee to like move her around, just open your knee up again towards the armpit. That usually gives you a lot of space to circle your leg and hook it on the inside. So I'm making a butterfly hook, this butterfly half, just like we were doing like a month ago or so, and some butterfly half first before we started the butterfly. All right? So a couple cool sweeps from this position too. You can certainly still finish this from here because it's the same thing. I have a distance control between our hips. So if I want, I can extend my leg away, use that to open up and work for my submission, right? Two other options, the same thing. If I'm going for that, right, and I'm starting to go and she feels the pressure, right, she's probably gonna wanna roll. I just use my butterfly hook to roll her over, glue her arm to her body, work my way up and attack from here. Or another very strong option, hopefully this doesn't hurt your knee. Right, so I get here, right, she starts to defend, I connect, get my butterfly hook. So one of the things about this position too that's interesting is that people will drop their weight down and stuff like that, but Michelle's actually helping me when she drops her head down low like this, because if I can get her arm out, like I'm trying to go to her head, right? So it's very little distance for me to travel to get it back here behind her back and all that, right? But if she just postures up and tries to pull away, now even if I get this thing out, like I can't reach far enough to actually finish the submission, right? So, try back in. So she postures up, man, we're right back into a regular butterfly sweep. So I've got this post trapped, right? Just drop my foot to the middle, roll to my left, use my hook. Now I can come up to the top where I can start to finish from here. I can dismount the side control, finish from here, right? But I keep my trap because there's still plenty of options from the mount for side control. Let's go this way. So virtually the same thing we just did, just a different frame with our legs. So I go, Michelle drops down real low. I lost my knee shield, you can't get a knee shield, right? Shoot your hips away if you can, try for that knee shield, can't get it, open up. So I open up away, right? Slide my hip in, right? And usually for me, when I get my hip back in, I'm either gonna extend away to try and finish, or if I feel like I'm just not gonna get the finish, I actually just scoot my hips under a little bit deeper, right? Because now when my hips are under hers, like my back goes to the ground, and I've got a little more leverage here for the sweep. So I can take my foot off, put it in the middle. I can just force the sweep if I want. I'm just gonna pull everything towards me, lift my hook, punch my arms into her hip to lift her hips up. Remember, pin this in here. I don't necessarily want to put this arm on the ground, because if I do that, she has a lot of mobility. Like she can turn her hips and everything lots of different directions. And it's hard for me to control her because this lever's so far away from her body. But if I pin this onto her body, now like when she moves, I move with her, and I can really control her upper body, right? So I want to keep it all moving together. Cool. Try it. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So remember when we were finishing with the knee shield, right? I'm using the knee shield to separate the block, the defense to open up. And then I'm opening my leg up into the armpit. The reason I'm doing that isn't just to to open this up. I'm doing it so I can roll my hips back this way, like I said, to make space, right? To actually get a good vantage point, like a good leverage point for this, right? So when I'm doing the butterfly hook, I kind of want to do the same thing, right? I get my hook in. I want to pull myself under. If Michelle's really far away and you guys try to just sweep from here, she's insanely heavy. There's no chance I'm going to get her going anywhere, right? I have to get her loaded on top of me, and I'd like to try to get to my back a little bit too. So when I'm here, I usually do this before I take this hook off, the right leg hook off. I pull my hips under, and that allows me to get here. And you'll see, like sometimes that pulls the arm out too, right? But now to sweep her, I'm not just lifting, right? You probably can if you're strong enough, right? But if I hip shovel my hips to the other side, just a little bit, I only move like a ½ inch. Like that makes a huge difference because now my hips aren't buried under her anymore. I'm just moving my hips to the other side and she's naturally starting to fall over the other way. It'll help take away some of that weight. So I'm here, move through, got my hook, bury myself under, try to get that arm out because I'd love to just finish here, like that'd be so much better. But maybe she's grabbing her belt, maybe she's defending really well. So as I go, use the foot to pull your hips under. Like even here, like she has to roll. Like she doesn't have a choice. And that hook barely has to do anything. And all I did was just that, okay? All right. And then come up, connect the body and all that stuff, okay? All right, let's keep going, 1, 2, 3. All right, so we'll just do one more sweep with the trap tonight. So this is a really good option if you lost your knee shield, can't get a butterfly hook, pretty much you've lost all chance of finishing that Kimura, right? So I'm coming up and over. I don't have an initial, so I'm not gonna connect yet. Now I connect, and I stiffen my arms out straight so she can't put in the counter, right? So like I was saying before, a lot of times in this position, I'm either gonna attempt to do something else by taking my own bottom leg out, but a lot of times people are just gonna pass here because I don't have a knee shield. It's hard for me to like really trap that leg tight. And if she starts to get out to side control and stuff like that, I can put myself in trouble, right? If I'm not doing things correctly. But I'm gonna continue to punch this arm straight, and that's one of the key details of when you lose the half guard. So if I'm punching this arm straight, if Michelle starts to go for that spinning arm bar, right? It's really hard for her to do that if I'm punching her arm into her hips, because she can't get around her arm, and it's really hard for her to step around and finish, right? And in the process, she doesn't have a post over here, right? And I can use that to take her over, okay? So I can either do that if somebody's stepping around for the arm bar, or I can do this on my own accord if they pass the guard. But basically the sweep looks like this. So here, I'm punching away straight. So let's just say they go to side control. I want you guys just to drill this starting from right here first, okay? So all I'm gonna do is work to get my body parallel to hers, but I keep my arms punching away. So I start to walk my back out, right? And I put my back on the floor at about north-south, okay? And all I do is just keep my arms locked out and just continue to roll. And then I kind of twist my body to the right. Because she doesn't have a post over there, she's gonna fall over. The faster you go, obviously, the smoother and easier it gets. But again, I'm locking everything to the body so that I can come up and start to work her on her side and finish with this position again. Very easy like that. All right. So again, from here, she starts to pass. So right away, I just continue to roll, right? She's gonna fall. It's very hard for people to stay on their knees in that position because their upper body starts to twist independently from their lower body. And it's difficult to keep it. One more time. So we're starting here, right? She passes, right? Just circle out, continue to circle, right? And you'll see how easy it is to get people over from that position. And again, there's a lot of things we're going to add into this stuff down the road. Like we can go into crucifix style positions from here, lots of attacks from here. I can always come up to my knees, towards back takes. There's lots of other things to do from here, but getting to the top, keeping the Kimura under control is like the main focus right now. Okay? Any questions on that one? That's it. 1, 2, 3. So now that we're about 2% of the way through the Kimura trap system, there's so much stuff to go with this system, it's ridiculous. Just to kind of show you guys a kind of like a quick little glimpse of what we're going to start working on next and what are the next parts of the progression. There's lots of different ways we can go. But when we're here, so one thing we can do on that last one, when we pull our leg out or she pulls her leg out, right? If I can, instead of walking my legs, you can kind of create a little more momentum by doing like a pendulum motion, right? To set up this initial sweep, right? And what will happen too, as people are better and better that you're sparring with, they'll have a better base, they'll be wider, they'll be harder to knock over and stuff like that. And you'll end up in a lot of different outcomes where I spin around and like she doesn't fall. Gives me an opportunity to start climbing up onto the back from here, or I can step over the head for arm bars and stuff like that, which we'll get into. But my favorite one, which I just want to show you, that we'll do, I think next week, is right into a back kick off of the same move with that pendulum motion, right? So as I swing around, I can come up either straight to the back, to triangles, all sorts of positions from there. But the back kick is really slick, and we're going to work on that next week, along with some of those other submissions and stuff.